Hello, I'm John, the Warhammer Modeler, and welcome to another video in converting Karloth Valois for Necromunda. Now, I've almost finished all of the plastic items on this conversion. In the next video, I'm going to be looking at some sculpting and working with green stuff to fill gaps and sculpt any extra detail. But in this video, I'm going to finish his crown and his back. So if we have a look at the original model, we can see that there's lots of tubes and cables, even a bit of brain sticking out on his head, and then wires and tubes and a few other things on his back. So what I've got to create the tubes and things like that is the Skitarii sprue. There's a few pieces I've looked at and thought they'll work perfectly. So I'm going to start with this arm and the backpack, which has the curved tubes on it. So the first things first, I'm going to trim these off. Okay, so these pipes, these tubes on these items, I'm going to be sticking to the back of the bat's head. One on the left side, one on the right side, and then I'm going to use another one along the middle. As there's a lot of hair already sculpted on the Mephiston model, I don't think I'm going to worry about trying to sculpt a brain sticking out from the back like there was in the original. When I do the sculpting on the hair, though, I will be bringing the hair longer down the front of the model. So, looking at the tubes on these two pieces, originally they'd connect together like this, but what I'm going to do is trim the one off the backpack first and work out exactly the best way to fit it. Then I'll trim the one off the arm a similar length to fit onto the crown. Okay, so there's the first cable glued in place. You can see there's a little gap just here that I'll fill with green stuff, sculpt a little bit detail in it, as well as under there. But that's the first tube going to his crown. So I'll now prep the second one to go on the other side. So there's the second tube in place. So while those are dry, I'm going to work out what I'm going to put in place of a backpack, as he doesn't have one on the original model. He's just got a few little bits of detail. Looking at the Skitarii sprue, there are lots of little details I could play around with and possibly include on this. Sometimes these kind of details are the fun part of making the model. Actually, I quite like this piece with all of its details. Not too worried about the side with the screen on, but the side with the little kind of circle details and the little rod and everything coming out of it. I think I'm going to use that on the back. Yeah, I quite like the look of that. So what I need to do is trim down the stalk on the backpack, and then I'm also going to trim down the back of this. So let's sort that out before I glue it together. I've trimmed those both flat. I quite like the look of that on there. Maybe the other way around. Let's see what it looks like. Well, yeah, actually, with the aerial sticking up, I think that works quite nicely. The detail on his backpack there, don't know what it is. Could be something for drawing psychic power energy or something, I don't know. But just has that kind of air of similarities to the original. I might stick something underneath actually, because we've got this little, almost like a tank, fuel tank underneath this one. So I'm going to have a look again at what's on this sprue. And I think just using one of these pieces from one of the guns will work perfectly. Okay, so trimmed that off. I'm just going to stick that underneath. So it's not looking exactly the same as the original, but it's just that air of similarity that nods to the history of the model. There we go. Yeah, I like that. So different but similar on that back section there. Okay. Now I'm looking and thinking, do I put in any more tubes on the head? You know what? I'm going to leave that for now. That detail. I may even sculpt a brain. Who knows when I come to the green stuff later on. So what I'm thinking about, so there's the little back wings, the little wings on the gem that's on his chest. What I might do is see what I've got that I can use to create those wings. Okay, so looking through some bits, I have some small bats from the Cursed City sprue, the giant bats that I used for the wings of his staff, and the remains of that model as well. So what I'm looking for is just I think I'm going to use the wings. Yeah, I'm going to use the wings off this one to become the wings on his necklace. So I'm just looking at this. Now what I'm going to do, just going to trim the top of that wing slightly. There we go. Okay. So, oversized necklace, but I like the idea of that. And then I'll have his hair flowing down when I sculpt that. So yeah, I'm happy with the way that's turned out. I've just got to... You know what? I'm going to include them. Just going to take a little bit off one of the fingers. So the Twitter poll, I think it's close to a 3-to-1 vote that he has the psychic flames. So I've been umming and ahhing since the beginning. I'm just going to stick them on. Worst case scenario, I take them off and I replace the hand. But for now, let's just stick these flames on. So, here's my model of Karloth Valois. So thanks for watching this series of videos. I hope you've enjoyed them. Stay tuned for the next video, which will be the final part of the conversion process. I'll be doing the sculpting and any other details that I want to add to the model. But for now, I'm John, the Warhammer Modeler. Stay safe.